Hello lovely people, and welcome back to another Medical Explainer video. I'm Jessica. I was born with disabilities that affect my nerves and connective tissue, which includes my organs, and give me the symptoms of a chronic illness. Thus, I make videos about symptoms and diagnoses from the patient's point of view. Helpful whether you're dealing with it yourself, supporting someone who is, or working in the medical field, and just want to know more about how your patients are feeling. Have you heard of the illness ME? Well, if not, it's the most prevalent illness you've never heard of, with between 17 to 24 million people suffering worldwide. This video is made in partnership with the charity Solve ME, whose work we'll be talking about more later. Did you know that the 8th of August is Severe ME Awareness Day? Myalgic encephalomyelitis, formerly known as chronic fatigue syndrome, isn't just an incredibly hard thing to say, it's also a complex and chronic immune disease that profoundly limits the health and ability of patients. There are in fact 4 types of ME, as it has a fluctuating spectrum of severity, and people with the condition can move between them. There's mild, which allows people to work or go to school with difficulty, and generally at the expense of other areas of life. Moderate, which leaves sufferers housebound and often using a walking aid. Severe, where patients must be bedbound, use a wheelchair and rely on carers. And very severe, a stage at which people are not only bedbound but also unable to speak, often incredibly sensitive to light, and tube fed. I've made a previous video covering ME CFS, but the specific video will be about severe ME. Whilst the disease is often triggered by an infection, it's widely misunderstood. I was actually temporarily diagnosed with ME as a teenager, whilst doctors were trying to work out what exactly was causing my body to malfunction, and I had to put up with the "sorry my ME is bad today, oh it's all me" jokes from people who were meant to be close to me, which aren't jokes, by the way. You are completely justified in being hurt. People belittle and make fun of your struggles with health and disabilities. A joke is something that all people involved find funny. Or the well-meaning but still irritating, "I'm chronically fatigued. Oh, we're all a bit tired. Why?" Which I can't even respond to as quickly as, "I'm deaf. Oh, it's so loud in here, we're all deaf." Oh, are we? So perhaps we should begin. What is ME? With some things it is not. Just yawning a lot. Oh, wanting to have more sofa days. Staying home from work so you can sunbathe. Skipping things because we just don't want to go. Being too tired to do boring things. ME symptoms, which are often made worse by standing, are persistent fatigue for 6 months or more, non-restorative sleep and or sleep disturbance, brain fog or cognitive impairment, neurological abnormalities, joint pain, headaches, migraines, muscle pain, dizziness, inflamed lymph nodes, and a great sensitivity to lights, sounds, smells, chemicals, which can include medications and certain food. And importantly, post-exertional malaise, the worsening of symptoms following even minor physical or mental exertion, with symptoms typically worsening 12 to 48 hours after the activity and lasting for days or even weeks, which is what catches you out because it's not right after, it's a little later on. In severe cases, ME can result in complete organ system shutdown. Yes, while rare, ME can be fatal, although it is infrequently recorded on a death certificate since the final cause of death listed may instead be a symptom of the condition, such as a cardiovascular problem. It's something that activists and advocates for greater research into ME insist needs to be changed, as the worry is that misreporting hides a much larger problem and stops research into the condition. In England and Wales, chronic fatigue syndrome is only listed as a cause of death first time in 2006, and in the 10 years following was included on death certificates a total of 800 times. I don't mean to scare you, merely to impress upon you the gravity of this condition, that it's not just being tired. 25% of those diagnosed with ME have the most severe form, meaning that they are trapped in darkened rooms with no light, sound, touch. I've been there for a different reason, it turns out, but I've been there and it really, really sucks. There isn't a way to underplay that. There is no sugarcoating that. One thing that people don't realise is that these severe symptoms can prevent people from accessing medical care and support. How do you go to A&E when your heart starts playing up if you know that the bright lights, smells and noise are going to make your pain worse? I've been there with something that turned out to be a hemiplegic migraine, which is where you feel like you're having a stroke. And I did not want to go to hospital, even though my wife was begging me to, because I knew that hospital would make it worse. It's like being allergic to the world. Now, you probably listened to that list of symptoms for ME and thought, this sounds familiar. And you would be right. Many of the symptoms are shared with other illnesses. And because most of these conditions lack a diagnostic test or easy biomarker, although there is talk that it may be possible to develop a test for ME, it would just require more research, which would require more funding, of course, and more awareness, which is part of what Solve ME works towards. If you think you might have ME, Solve.me actually has a really good online test that you can use to then help you when you speak to your doctor. I'll leave the link in the description below. Identifying which illness is present exactly can be difficult, and some patients, like me, receive multiple diagnoses for multiple conditions before doctors eventually work out what is actually going on. Studies have shown that less than 16% of ME patients in the United States have been diagnosed properly. 16%? Really? Really? Admittedly, due to that lack of one simple diagnostic test or biomarker, diagnosing ME is a challenging process that can take months or even years. Often it's just a diagnosis of elimination. We've tried this other stuff and it's not that, so I guess it's this. Common conditions that occur alongside ME, known as comorbidities, include the following: fibromyalgia, orthostatic intolerance, irritable bowel syndrome, temporomandibular joint disorder, chronic pelvic pain, multiple chemical sensitivity disorder. And of course, there is a big one we haven't talked about: long COVID. The term long COVID describes a collection of lingering symptoms following COVID-19, and much like ME as a whole, patients can experience this in a range of degrees from mild to severe. Both long COVID and ME observe very similar pathways, each following an infection, and both exhibit key symptoms of similarity: crippling fatigue, cognitive dysfunction, and post-exertional malaise. With a large number of people who have now been infected with COVID and are living with after effects, it's even more important that we learn lessons from severe ME. People who are so ill they are unable to perform everyday tasks without assistance, from eating to showering to even standing. They need 24-hour care. There is currently no cure for either long COVID or ME, nor is there even an approved treatment, and thus a dire need for more research into these disorders. However, don't panic, there is always a however to save the day. There is evidence that the sooner you get a diagnosis, the better your chances for recovery. Getting diagnosed early is important, so speak to your doctor. And if your doctor tells you that it's all in your head, speak to another doctor. Researchers concur that ME is not a form of depression, nor a psychiatric illness, nor a psychosomatic one. That's when, in very simple terms, your mind believes something so much that your body does it and you cannot consciously stop it. I oversimplified that. For example, and weak example, okay, I broke my foot, I can't walk on it, but it's been months now and the bones are fixed. Everything is fine, but I can't lift my foot, and when I go to stand on it, I just can't. My foot is fine, and I cannot mentally override this block. It's a lizard brain. That bit of your brain, core DNA, unevolved, and has been there from the start. It learned that, ouch, standing on your foot hurt, so it just kind of shut that option off. I mean, you can train your lizard brain, it just takes time. That's psychosomatic. Of course, it would be careless of me to just skip over the fact that all chronic illnesses have huge psychological and social components. Being ill sucks, right? Being ill with something that you struggle to explain to basically everyone in your life sucks even more. Being told that you'll feel better if you went to bed earlier, got more sleep, stop looking at your phone so much, put some lavender around your room. Yes, Brenda, we get it. Enough with the freaking lavender. Being told that all that when you wake up every single morning from a night of sleep that basically feels useless? Why did I even bother going to bed if I'm still this tired when I wake up? Well, eventually it does start to wear down your spirits. Add to that the isolation. God, the isolation. Watching everyone else you know doing fun stuff, living their lives, having a whale of a time, forgetting that you even exist, and then if they do invite you to something and you spend all day getting ready for it, because it takes all day, not because you're a diva, but because you have energy issues and you have to sit down every 5 minutes, plus your brain fog, so who the hell knows where the mascara's gone now? So you spent all day getting ready for it, and then you're at the front door and you realise, oh my god, I can't. I literally can't step out the house because I won't have the energy to step back in. And if I go to this party, this dinner, these drinks with friends, I'm going to have an energy crash and not be able to come home. I won't be safe. And even if I'm safe, I won't be composed. They're all going to see me. And friend, if you have never seen an energy crash, it isn't necessarily what you'd expect. I mean, maybe you're expecting a wind-up doll who suddenly just falls on its side, or your own experience of slipping into sleepiness, a kind of slow, gradual progression. It is neither, and it is both. For me, it's being way too over-the-top life and soul of the party. Number one hint, I'm about to crash. Getting weirdly slurry and sloppy, though I haven't actually been drinking or anything, and then just, oh, bam. She's not getting back up. And it takes about 5 minutes, which is not enough time to get yourself to safety. It's merely enough time for other people to cushion your landing and guide you to a chair. It's pretty embarrassing, especially with the waiters. And it's understandable to be scared about that happening, or to be worried about your future, which is why depression and anxiety may occur as a result of having any chronic debilitating illness. As you can imagine, this is only compounded in people who live at the more extreme end of ME, who can for many years or even for life suffer as a result of being effectively trapped inside their bodies, their beds, and their bedroom. I never leave the house alone. Like, never. And I would say my energy issues are now mild, but I would not trust myself to leave the house alone. What causes ME? It doesn't help that we don't necessarily know what causes a person to develop the condition. Some people become sick with ME following a very sudden and severe illness, which is similar to the viral flu, but for others there's just a slow progression over a period of months or years into the illness and no real cause can be highlighted. Research has shown that there are genetic, metabolic, immune and central nervous system factors involved in the development of ME, and scientists are studying these connections in the hopes of developing both diagnostic tests and treatments. Whilst there currently is no approved medicine, treatment is directed at relieving symptoms. However, symptom reduction strategies have been shown to improve the long-term prognosis of a person with ME, along with improving their quality of life. Get in there early. While severity of the condition varies greatly from patient to patient, for many people with ME there is a pattern of relapse and remission. Most symptoms are invisible to others, which makes it difficult for other people, from friends and family to the general public, to understand the challenges that they're facing. The time to recover from ME CFS also varies. While some patients only recover in small to moderate degrees and take a very long time to get there, or else do not ever fully recover, others can recover quickly and fully. Yet no one knows why. There's just so little data. More research is needed, but more research needs more funding. Who gets ME? Well, that's a great question. Everyone. Anyone. ME may begin as early as age 10, although there have been reports of earlier cases, and it may onset as late as into someone's 70s. Again, between 17 to 24 million people worldwide suffer with this condition, and there isn't really a unifying factor in terms of identity. Whilst research has shown that ME is 2 to 4 times more likely to be diagnosed in women than men, we can't really ignore the potential for misdiagnosis, as we spoke about earlier, and especially when we're already aware of sexism within the medical system. Oh, hey, I have a video on that. You can watch it here. ME can hit people from every age, every racial and ethnic background, and every socio-economic group. So it affects all of us. If it hasn't already personally touched your life, if you don't know someone or know of someone who has the condition, then there's nothing to say you won't in the future, and it's important to take note now. We could also talk about the money. One study found that in the US, the direct and indirect cost of ME to society annually was between $36 and $51 billion a year for a condition that doesn't even have a treatment. So now would be a good time to talk about the Solve ME CFS initiative, the non-profit organisation that is sponsoring this video and works as a catalyst for the much needed research into diagnostics, treatment and cures for ME, long COVID and other post-infectious diseases. Part of their mission is to make ME CFS better understood, which is what we're doing here today. Hi YouTube! But they also invest in innovative scientific studies to address knowledge gaps in ME CFS and encourage researchers to pursue the topic, which I think is really cool. They're not just spreading a bit of awareness. Oh no, they're out there looking for a test, a treatment, a cure. So how can you help? Well, if you would like to learn more about ME CFS and the work that Solve ME does on behalf of those with severe ME, then you can go to the top link in my description. You can also spread awareness this August the 8th. And if you're watching this after the 8th of August, then hey, there'll be another one coming around in less than 364 days. This Severe ME Day, please share this video and amplify the stories of those who struggle with severe ME. Please share your own story in the comments if you can, or if you have someone in your life who is affected by this, please help them to share their story if they wish to but are unable, so that we can all learn from first-hand experience. Please use your other social media platforms as well. Put something in your Instagram stories, share a tweet, make a TikTok about how lying in bed all day every day is not actually fun, Brenda. I got hurt by a Brenda once, okay? Bring it up sometimes. And to those who are suffering from severe ME CFS, please know that you are not alone. Whilst you may not be able to access the outside world right now, we're here for you and we're honouring you in your fight, looking forwards to the future and to better days ahead for you. And to those of you with a loved one who has ME, to the caregivers and the families out there, know that you are not forgotten, you are not overlooked. We see the hard but loving work that you do and your dedication and please know that it is okay to ask for help. It is all right to get tired and to need assistance yourself. You do not need to be perfect. Please make sure you are looking after yourself as well. We see you, we honour you, we wish the best for you. I would also encourage you to share your personal experiences with Solve ME's Humans of ME Story Archive, which I'm also going to put a link to in the description, to better help increase understanding of ME CFS. Change will come. One day there will be a breakthrough. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.